I'm truly sorry if this ruins your day, but I want you to think for a second about all of the craziest conspiracy theories that you can come up with about intelligence agencies and what they are capable of. Like, I'm talking like they're watching me through the TV kind of conspiracy theories, because it is that. And it's worse. In 2017, there was a massive leak out of the CIA that the agency now calls the Vault 7 disclosures, in which we found out that not only can they basically intercept any communication at any time, they can hack into your smart TV and listen to you even when it's off. They can also take over your car using its embedded computer and do whatever they want with it. Drive it off a bridge, drive it into a tree. They could make you disappear into the rest of the world. It would look like a mysterious accident. There wasn't a lot of reporting in 2017 about the specifics of what was in the Vault 7 disclosures, and there's a good reason for that. This is just what we know they can do using 2017 technology. That was 8 years ago. That was before TikTok, before AI, before the second Trump presidency, before they were openly, publicly discussing targeting political dissidents with the power of the state. So when people try to tell you, oh, the CIA can't do this or Mossad can't do this, yes, they fucking can.
It was not the conspiracy theorists who are right about the files. Do you know who it was? It was the women who told you guys that the justice system was entirely against every survivor. It was the women who were turning around and telling you that we would go and tell people if people would believe us. It was the women who told you guys repeatedly that the problem is nothing other than the patriarchy. It was the women who told you that the same people who are harming us are the people that control the justice system. So it wasn't the conspiracy theorists that were right. It was all the women you refused to believe.
I've been trying to figure out for years why regular people believe in conspiracy theories. Bigfoot, flat earth, UFOs, chemtrails, faking the moon landing. So I decided to do some research on conspiracy theories to understand how they actually work. Not to make fun of these people, but to really understand what's going on here. Why could regular people fall for some of the craziest sounding things? Here are 3 psychological reasons normal people fall for conspiracy theories. 1. It makes them feel smarter than everyone else. In 2017, a French psychologist named Anthony Lanchin ran 4 studies with over 1,000 participants to answer why people believe in conspiracy theories. He recruited people online and gave them well-known conspiracy theories to evaluate. Things like the JFK assassination was a coordinated government cover-up. He then asked his volunteers how true they thought this conspiracy theory was on a scale of 1 to 9. Then he asked 2 more very important questions. Do you think the information you used to form this belief is available to everybody? Do you think most people know what you know about this conspiracy theory now? What he found destroyed everything we thought we knew about conspiracy theorists. The stronger someone believed in a conspiracy theory, the more they believed they possessed secret information that other people simply didn't have access to. Information most people would never find. Information that powerful people didn't want them to see. Then Lanchin ran a second experiment. He took a new group of people and gave them personality tests. He then told those people their personality tests came back and it showed they were completely average. They were exactly like everyone else. Nothing special about them at all. Then he showed them the same conspiracy theories. Belief went up immediately. All he had to do was make people feel ordinary, and they ran straight to information that made them feel exceptional again. The need to feel unique didn't just predict conspiracy belief, it caused it. These people aren't falling for lies. They're choosing information that makes them feel like they can see what everyone else is blind to, that they know things others don't know, that they figured out what others are hiding. I'm not a sheep. That feeling is more addictive than any drug, and once you feel it, you'll do almost anything to keep it. This is why conspiracy theories prevail for so long. 2. It gives them a tribe. In 2017, Princeton University psychologist Alan Komen ran a study to understand the connection between loneliness and conspiracy thinking. He recruited 120 students and asked each person to write 2 paragraphs about themselves, who they are, who they want to become. He told them the other students in the room would read their paragraphs and decide whether they wanted to work with them. Then he randomly assigned some students to be rejected. No reason given, just shut out. The rejected students didn't get angry. They started searching desperately for meaning, trying to make sense of a world that had just rejected them without explanation. And that search for meaning led them directly into conspiratorial thinking. Komen called what happened next a dangerous cycle. The person feels excluded, they share a conspiracy theory, family and friends pull away, the exclusion gets worse. They find a conspiracy community that welcomes them completely, and they never leave. Because leaving doesn't mean changing your mind. It means going back to being completely alone. For people who have been invisible their whole lives, passed over, ignored, left behind, a conspiracy community is the first place they have ever truly belonged to something. When you try and argue them out of their beliefs, you aren't fighting an idea. You're fighting the only family some of these people have ever had. 3. It gives them status and importance. In 2017, Roland Imhoff at the University of Minsk ran one of the most revealing experiments in the history of conspiracy psychology. He invented a completely fictional conspiracy theory that smoke detectors emit dangerous ultrasound noise that the government is covering up. Something nobody had ever heard of. Something with zero basis in reality. Then he split people into 2 groups. He told the first group that only a small minority of people believed this theory. Hardly anyone. Just a few people who had figured it out. He told the second group that a large majority of people already believed it. Mainstream. Common knowledge, same theory, same evidence, zero difference in the facts. The minority group believed it significantly more. The moment a conspiracy theory becomes something everyone knows, it loses all its value. Because the value was never in the information. The value was being one of the few people who had that information. It was never about truth. It was about being one of the chosen few with access to something real. Having insider knowledge that powerful people don't want you to have. Being important. Being somebody who matters. For people who have spent their entire lives feeling powerless and insignificant, conspiracy theories hand them something nobody can ever take away. The feeling that they matter, that they know something you don't know, and you cannot make them unsee it. This is why conspiracy theories don't die. They were never about the truth. They were always about feeling smarter, feeling chosen, feeling like you belong somewhere. That's a much harder thing to walk away from than admitting that it's all just been some big conspiracy theory.
You know how even scientists say that like time is not linear and that's just how we feel like we experience it, but that's not how it actually is. I was thinking about this a lot because when I used to be a preschool teacher years ago, there was one child, one tiny little toddler that I just I loved. You try not to have favorites, but there was just this one that I was like, why am I so connected to this kid? He can barely talk. What is it? And it's so weird because now that my son is the age to be in preschool, he's exactly like this child. Like, he looks a lot like him. He acts a lot like him. A lot of the same interests, a lot of the same idiosyncrasies as him. It's so weird. And it's like, did I know somewhere deep down, instead of my child reminding me of this kid from the preschool, maybe when I was teaching at the preschool, that child reminded me of my son that I would have one day. Does that make sense?
And while I'm on the topic of conspiracy theories, here's 3 conspiracy theories I 100% believe in, and no one can ever convince me otherwise. Don't even try to convince me otherwise. Okay, my first one is, I feel like the government is altering the weather. Not controlling the weather, but altering it. Like, you know how it don't rain in Dubai, so they make artificial rain to kind of stimulate the rain so that, the plants could grow and stuff like that. I feel like they doing the same thing here, but instead of making it rain, they intensifying the hurricanes and the tornadoes. That's why the weather be so bad. I can't prove it yet, but they doing something with it. Number 2, this is not even a theory. This is just known facts. That the government is always watching us. They listening to our phones, they listening to our TVs, they listening to everything. And they keeping watch of us at all times. Why you think you say something and then it's an ad on your phone? Because they always watching. Or at least listening. And last but not least, listen, hear me out. You gotta hear me out. I think aliens are real. But not the aliens that's in space. I think aliens are under the ocean. Because you got people, we only explored 10% of the ocean. We don't know what's down there. I think that's where the aliens at. But, and also, I think the ocean leads to outer space. I don't know, y'all. I might be on to something. I don't know, y'all. Let me know if y'all want a part 2.
Why do people believe in conspiracy theories? Are they tricked, brainwashed, or just kind of stupid? Sometimes one or multiple of those things can be true at the same time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being ignorant on a subject as long as you're curious and try to learn about it. Actually trying to learn about a subject takes time, it takes dedication. So instead of bothering to try and learn about a subject, it's so much easier just to write it off as bullshit. So they could try and learn about something, which, boring, or they can convince themselves that these people with facts are just liars and you're one of the few people who are smart enough to see through their shit. It's just easier and more satisfying to the ego to just believe the conspiracy rather than to admit to yourself, I'm just not that smart, and I just don't understand. But if you can convince yourself that you know things that everybody else doesn't know, then whenever they try to provide facts to the opposite, they're not going to buy into that because you've just bought into what they want you to believe. And that's why when you provide evidence to people like MAGA and say, this is why this isn't true, and they'll say, of course you believe that. And it's like, I don't believe it. It's actually factual. And then they say things like, well, there's facts on both sides. To which I have to say, there is only one truth. Only a lie has versions. But they've been given permission to believe whatever they want because of alternative facts. And they put in all this effort to argue for their conspiracy theories instead of just learning the truth. And it doesn't matter if 10 people tell them that they're wrong, they're still going to believe what they want to believe. Almost like a religion or a cult. Sometimes the lie or the conspiracy is just more fun to believe than the truth. I saw a video earlier that compared it to addiction, and I thought that was interesting. That these people are addicted to these conspiracy theories, and they're not going to let go of their addiction until it stops being emotionally rewarding. For some people, it's going to take a lot, like losing family members. For some people, you just have to set up strong boundaries, like if you bring up the deep state again, this conversation is over, and you need to stick to that threat. Or you can just make fun of and belittle the things that they're trying to tell you instead of respectfully disagreeing. They need for this to emotionally hurt for them to want to break this addiction. Because right now they have no incentive whatsoever to let go of the cult mentality. As we've seen multiple times, they actually enjoy being angry. And it's up to us to turn that anger into sadness and despair. And I know there's a lot of you that are going to make a lot of excuses like, I don't know how much time they have left, or I just remember what they were like when we were kids. They weren't like this. Maybe they could get back to that again. Or you might think, oh, if I just love them and be supportive, maybe they'll come out of it. But does that work with alcoholics? Not really. But all that's doing is enabling them. It's helping them keep the cycle going. Look, the next 4 years is going to be hellish for all of us. The least we could do is try and make it hellish for them too. Especially since they were the ones who put us in this position to begin with. And I really don't care if they were just too stupid to know any better. If other people have to suffer because of their stupidity, there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have to suffer because of it.
Hey Jim, why are some people's brains obsessed with conspiracy theories?
The science behind this is really kind of fascinating, and it looks like basically the real driver between obsession with conspiracy theories comes down to a combination of personality traits and different motivations. These are people who tend to rely on their automatic thinking, cognitive biases, rather than critical thinking. They often feel a lot of antagonism towards another group. They have the need for their social identity and often feel threatened by those other people. There's also this need to have some secret truth that you know and nobody else knows about the great big world events that are scary and confusing. But they tend to be more paranoid, insecure, impulsive, manipulative, higher rates of narcissism. There's also in some people a need for chaos. People that push online conspiracy theories that don't actually believe in them. They get a kick out of chaos.